and welcome to Hermetic Journeys. We find ourselves deep in the feminine today, in the dark forests, because we're going to celebrate a woman who gives of her life so that something else may grow and become something greater than herself. I'm talking about emblem number 5 of Atalanta Fugiens, a wonderful emblem book by Maier. So if you thought emblem 4 was weird and odd, emblem 4 can hold a candle to emblem 5. So let's take a look at the emblem. In emblem 5, we see a man and a woman. The man is holding a toad to the breast of the woman. So let's find out what's going on by looking at the motto. The motto says, "Put a toad to the breast of a woman that she may feed it, and the woman may die, and the toad grows big from the milk." A few things I'd like to say about this particular sentence, motto. Milk can be many things in the alchemical parlance, right? It can be mercury, it can be solvents, a variety of things, okay? It's a metaphor for something, obviously. Let's talk about the woman, because the toad is very complex, and we'll get to the toad shortly. The woman, in my mind, is any matter that's used in the alchemical process to create the philosopher's stone, okay? In fact, there's an alchemical dictum that is, I'll give you the snooty Latin term, solve et coagula. And that means dissolve and coagulate. In many alchemical operations, as we've covered in the 3-part series of alchemy videos, material matter is used to create other matter. So let's take as an example the plants. Okay, in the spagyric video, we took a plant, we broke it up, we put it in a vessel. Below the vessel, we heated distilled water, and the distilled water rose up and gave us the oil of the plant, or the soul of the plant. Remember? Then we took the remains of the plant and we let it ferment, and we got the spirit of the plant, right? We got the soul and the spirit, okay? And then we took the remains of that and we calcinated it, and we got the salt. So essentially, the woman is just like the plant. She is giving up the ghost, her soul and her spirit, all right, and her body, so that the toad may grow into something greater than it is, because a toad's a pretty creepy thing. I'm sorry to all you toad lovers out there. I mean, no offense to you, okay? So that's where I think we're kind of going with this, with the woman. Let's take a look at the epigram and see if Maier sheds any light on this. Of course, you know he's going to obfuscate, if anything. So, put a cold toad to the breast of a woman, so that it may drink from the source of milk like a child. So, again, milk could be a variety of different things in the alchemical realm. The child, of course, whenever I hear the word child, I think, you know, philosopher's child or philosophical child, meaning the philosopher's stone. So when we see the word child, that's kind of how we have to think. At least that's what it's been in Atalanta Fugiens. So the next item that the epigram says is, "Let it swell into a large growth," meaning the toad, "and let the woman become ill and die." Now she dies because the poison from the frog, the venom from the frog, is infecting her as she's giving the toad her milk. Okay, so then it says, "Make a noble medicine from it, which drives the poison out of the human heart and takes away destruction." And there's an interesting word that Maier is using here, the word poison. Poison can be seen in 2 ways, in my opinion. Poison can be the poison that we inflict upon ourselves through our actions and our deeds and our thoughts, right? The things that we're not proud of, the things that we carry with us that we don't really like about ourselves, and that kind of poisons us. If we dwell on those things, it really becomes a poison, right? And of course, the noble medicine would be the philosopher's stone, All right, and of course that would take care of the poison of the heart. And again, it says here, and take away destruction. Well, that would be death, of course, the destruction. So the Philosopher's Stone will do those things. But there's something else concerning the word poison. If we think of the toad is a venomous creature. In fact, it has glands in its skin that secrete a venom as well. So you don't even want to handle a toad. You don't even want to pick one up, okay? Let alone put it to your breast to feed it. Okay, so there was a story that Michael Maier references, all right, in the discourse. We're going to kind of jump into the discourse now, all right, by a gentleman named Guilielmus Novobrigensis. And Michael Maier, as you know, occasionally slams people, like he did to poor Cornelius Agrippa in the, I think it was the second Emblem. And he literally says, of this story I'm about to tell you, may others judge how reliable he is. So we know Michael Maier's not a fan of this Novobrigensis, all right? And the story is an odd story, of course, and it's about a stone that was found in a quarry, and the stone was broken apart, and inside the stone they found a living toad with a gold chain around its neck. Right, so what I need to talk about with you is the belief that there is a stone inside a toad called a toad stone, and the stone was believed to have curative powers. In other words, if you were bitten by a snake or stung by an insect or bitten by a spider, you could take this stone and place it on the affected area and it would cure it. This idea came from Pliny the Elder, a Roman statesman and philosopher, quite some time ago. And of course, none of it's true, but people believed it. So as time went on, a book was published in 1608 by a man named Edward Topsell called History of the Serpent. And in this book, Topsell describes how to retrieve the stone from a toad. Now, apparently you couldn't kill the toad and then take the stone because the poisonous venom in the toad would destroy the stone. So you had to get it while the toad was alive. I'm not making this up. So what Topsell instructed in his book was to get a scarlet cloth and lay the toad on its back on a scarlet cloth. The toad would kind of stretch out and, get comfy and spit out the stone. So if you were quick enough to grab that stone before it went back into the toad's mouth, you had yourself a toadstone. And believe it or not, people wore these toadstones in amulets and rings like you see here, okay? Unfortunately, they weren't stones from a toad. What they were was fossilized teeth of a fish from the Cretaceous period. And nefarious individuals, probably the puffers, like my brother Kenny, would collect these fossils and claim they came from the toad. They would mount them on a ring or on an amulet or whatever, and they would sell them to people as remedies for bites from venomous creatures. Many people died because they believed that this stone would cure their illness. So Michael Maier continues concerning this toad. Of course, he doesn't believe the story. He thinks it's baloney, of course. And so he continues here saying, in the same way, this toad, meaning the toad that's nursing from the woman, is distinguished by its gold, not artificially on the outside. Remember, the toad found in the quarry had a gold chain wrapped around its neck. It is true with a gold chain, but at the inside in a natural way, like the stones borax, kaolinite, betrokite, and others. And here he's talking about the toadstone. Betrokite is a stone that is believed to be found inside a frog's head. Okay, not kidding you. So he continues here. This toad, seen as a stone, however, far surpasses these said stones in its activity as a remedy against all kinds of animal poisons, and usually it is enclosed in gold as in a wrapping so that it cannot be damaged or destroyed. So we're talking about the jewelry here. But it must be obtained from the animal domain, as I've already told you, okay? You have to get yourself a scarlet cloth and lay the toad out and catch the toadstone really quick as he spits it out. If, however, Michael Maier continues, it is obtained from subterranean quarries, and its form composed of stone taken from here and then used in its turn, it is chosen from the best minerals, which can aid the heart. For in these things the true philosopher's stone is found, and not in a quarry, as that storyteller claims. So here he is again, doesn't like this storyteller. And moreover, the philosopher's stone has the gold within, and not as an ornament on the outside. So what is he doing here? He's comparing the toadstone to the philosopher's stone. And of course, there's no comparison. Even if you believe there was a toadstone that helped with venomous bites, the philosopher's stone is so much more than that because it's made of purified elements. And we already went through that whole thing, right? So that's what he's doing here. He's saying this toadstone, if you think the toadstone is great, you're greatly mistaken. It is the philosopher's stone that can cure disease and prolong life. So, what does the toad represent? This gets a little complicated. I think the toad represents a few things. First, I think it represents the prima materia. Remember in the previous video, Emblem 4 episode, episode 4, Emblem 4, we talked about the prima materia, which was a swirling mass of matter, and it had the potential energy, and God came along and said, let there be light, and it became our universe. Okay, so everything was made from the prima materia, therefore the brother and the sister were of the same thing, and everything was okay, right? We went through all that, okay. So what do alchemists do in every alchemical work? They take a mineral, a metal, an animal, okay, or a plant, and they break it down to its primary essence, which is essentially the prima materia. They're breaking it back down to the prima materia, but this time they're taking the prima materia and they're purifying it, right? The white phase, the black phase, we break it down. The white phase, we purify it, and then the red phase, we put it back together to create the philosopher's stone or a spagyric or whatever, right? So the woman is dying. She's giving of herself so that the toad, which is the prima materia, right, can become something more than what it is. This lowly creature that lives in swamps and has venomous skin and whatever, you know, and has this weird toadstone inside of it. So that's one thing that it can be. What's interesting to note is that the toad and the chain is actually a very important item to Michael Maier, and I didn't know this until I did all this research on the toad. And what I found was that there is a toad with a chain attached to an eagle on Michael Maier's family crest. I think what it represents as well is the concept of the fixed and the volatile. And that actually stems from the Emerald Tablet. And Isaac Newton's translation literally says, it ascends from the earth to the heaven, and again it descends to the earth and receives the force of things superior and inferior. So the toad represents the earthbound plant or metal or animal, okay? And then when we apply heat to it, as in a distillation, the vapors rise through the distillation head where they're exposed to the heavenly realms and planetary influences and auspices. So that's the ascension. And then it travels back down through the condenser in the distillation apparatus and into the receiving flask where we receive the oil, okay? And the same thing with the metals. So essentially what's happening here, I believe, is that this also represents the fixed and the volatile. The toad represents the fixed, the eagle is the volatile. They are another representation of an alchemical process, the process of distillation. In this image, from a 17th century work called Medium Chemicum, we see the toad and eagle once again, and Michael Maier references this emblem in other works. The toad and eagle can also represent microcosm and macrocosm, the above and below. Another reference to the emerald tablet. It can also represent lead's transmutation into gold. So, like I said, it can represent many things. So that's what I think this emblem is about, and Michael Maier's family crest. Specifically concerning the emblem, if I want you to come away from this with one thing, it's the Latin term solve et coagula, or dissolve and coagulate. The woman is giving of herself, giving of her life, her soul, her body, so that something else may become greater than it is. And the toad is her child, essentially. He talks about that in the discourse somehow. But anyway, she's giving of herself to her child, okay? The philosopher's child, the philosopher's stone. I hope this all makes sense, okay? Pretty cool stuff. So let's listen to the music. Welcome back. Let's talk about the music to Emblem 5. In essence, there really isn't much for me to say about it, other than it is the beautiful 3-part fugue, and I've downloaded the MIDI files from Adam McLean's wonderful Alchemy website. So let's take a listen to the music to Emblem 5. Hello, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the music to Emblem 5. Thank you so very much to everyone who's watched these. And if this is the first time you've come across this, subscribe. You may catch a video in the future that really resonates with you. Okay, well anyway, thank you very much. And I'll see you next time.